My dad is very polished and smooth, but underneath that is a very tenacious individual.
People always remember how nice my dad was to them, and just he's kind of a character. He's a bit of a wild guy, but
My dad was in law school.
I'm working a couple jobs, and I go on a law school bulletin board, and they have something FCC, which I thought was the Friendly Candy Company. And I got hired, and I started as a GS5, a clerk. And I started that in 1966. I was there for the next 20 years. I started working what's called PCS. That became the competitors of cellular.
And he was then in the private radio bureau, and he saw where the world of private radio could be. And I think that's had a profound impact on wireless service writ large.
Morgan O'Brien, he's the one from the law firm who came to me to ask me to join Jones Day. I would go in and develop the communications practice with him. He had just joined that firm. He misled me. It's a nice way of putting it. He wanted me to be his attorney for his concept, which became called Fleet Club. We had to get what we call a waiver order from the FCC to compete with cellular. They asked if I could win this. I said, give me a weekend. I came back and I explained, all of you board members, and I talked directly to the board, have to keep your damn mouths shut for a year and a half. It took me 13 months to win. One commissioner said at the meeting, I've never seen such a firestorm over something that's so obvious that we should do. There was a set of rules that we were SMR, we were not cellular, that would make it more difficult for us to combine everything. So we filed and we got it. All the changes we wanted, they were reasonable changes. They helped putting digital in place of analog. That was a huge coup. When the commission did the allocations, they interleaved a lot of things. And as cellular started proliferating, as we started proliferating, we started causing interference to police and to fire. If we rejigger the spectrum, we give some of our Nextel spectrum to public safety, and we get a better chunk of spectrum, not more, but a better chunk.
The plan was too ambitious, controversial, and without precedent. Bob put his head down and persevered, and at the end of the day won a unanimous 5-0 decision from the FCC.
Before we prevailed, my wife had a horrible accident, which left her as a quadriplegic. My daughter was 13.
Being my age, I think it impacted me tremendously, and I think it pushed me to continue to try as hard as I could in anything else, because I realized, how short life was. Anytime I needed him, he was still there.
Meanwhile, there's a company called Sprint who would like to merge, and it's a really good opportunity for both companies. When the original merger occurred, everybody had a package to leave that was in the upper echelons. I had a kicker that was significant to me if I stayed for 3 years. My wife dies. The kicker comes in the next month. I retired 2 months later.
I'm honored to have worked with Bob. I've learned so much from him. He's a great friend, a great mentor, a true pioneer and true leader in the wireless industry.
Bob and I have been on the same sides of issues, and we have certainly opposed each other over the years. But I got to tell you, I have a great deal of respect for him.
When I worked with either his team members in regulatory and government affairs or people from the FCC, what came out was how great of a leader he was. He's been a wonderful example of that.
At my internship at the FCC, the people that went out of their way to seek out to help me even without me even asking were people that he had been really nice to, and that was what mattered, not even just like what he'd done with his career.
I never dreamed it could be this good. And this is from somebody who had $50 when he was 43.